There are serious allegations being made today against Boeing by one of its own engineers. Sam Salehpour said the company is taking safety shortcuts that put its 777 and 787 planes at risk. He said he told Boeing about tiny gaps in between sections of the fuselage that could eventually break apart, but he was ignored.
I told my boss that, I said in the report, I said, we have made 300 plus airplanes. That should have been more than adequate for us to resolve these things. All the problems that we've had, we put Band-Aid over Band-Aid to resolve the problems, and Band-Aid over Band-Aid doesn't cover it. It's like an earthquake. You know, the big earthquake is coming, but when that hits the building that, let's say if you're talking of a building, have to be prepared to accommodate that type of a, let's say, shakeup. It has to be built properly. Right now, from what I've seen, the airplanes are not being built per spec and per requirement.
The CBC's Chris Reyes has been watching that testimony, and she joins us live in New York. Chris, what is standing out to you so far at this committee hearing? Sam Salehpour has made some dramatic statements. One of the quotes I've seen from him outside the hearing was, he said, "I'm extending my own neck because this will save people's lives. People will die if this is not picked up on." A huge statement to make. What's standing out for you right now?
Deanna, there are so many details in those statements that are shocking, dramatic, as you said, and all of these details will ripple not just across the airline industry, but beyond it. And if you're a flyer yourself, if you travel, these statements would stop you in your tracks. What really struck me, however, is how he began his statements in a very personal manner. He talked about having a friend engineer who worked on the space shuttle, the Challenger, that of course broke apart mid-flight in 1986, killing everybody on board. And he said that friend engineer raised some concerns over the space shuttle and some flaws in that space shuttle, and nobody listened to him. And he said that if he was ever in a position to raise similar concerns, he promised himself that he would speak out. And this is the reason why he's appearing before this committee. He said he doesn't want to be there. He's doing this at great risk to his life and to his career. But he's looked at the Boeing data himself, and he has seen too many manufacturing shortcuts to shut up about it, frankly. And he tried to raise these concerns to his superiors repeatedly for many years, but nobody would listen to him. Have a listen to him describe that.
I want to make clear that I have raised these issues over 3 years. I was ignored. I was told not to create delays. I was told, frankly, to shut up. At one point, Boeing management got sick of me and raising these issues and moved me out of the 787 program into this 777 program. On the 777 program, I found problems. Again, I found that Boeing started a new process to build the airplane without taking into the consideration of the design of the airplane and how the airplane was designed.
Senator Blumenthal, who's chairing this Senate subcommittee, described this moment as a reckoning for Boeing, and that certainly was the tone and the mood in that room. Another former Boeing manager, Ed Pearson, gave an impassioned plea, and he went even further than Sam Salehpour, calling the safety culture within Boeing dysfunctional.
Chris,
there's a reason commercial aviation has been historically safe, and that's because people worked extremely hard for decades to keep them safe. They told the truth. They admitted their mistakes, and they didn't downplay safety incidents. These agencies have become lazy, complacent, and reactive. The deterioration has been occurring over several years.
And you can expect, Deanna, that more witnesses will be called to this hearing. This is the first of many. That's what the senators have promised. They said they need to get to the bottom of this issue. They need to restore the confidence in the flying public.
Chris, these are striking allegations, and our viewers may remember that this is, of course, not the only trouble that Boeing has been facing in the last 6 months or so. In fact, I was just reading in terms of how this impacts passengers, Air Canada just agreed to buy 18 of these 787 Dreamliners just back in late 2023. That's in addition to the fleet it already has. So a huge potential impact on people who fly. What is Boeing saying about this?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the Dreamliner is a widely used aircraft around the world, including in Canada. As you mentioned, it travels great distances, carries past more than 300 passengers at a time, and it's been flying the sky since 2011. If you've ever flown, chances are you've been on a 787 Dreamliner. What Boeing is saying is that they did try to get ahead of this congressional testimony with an official statement. They're denying these allegations. They're calling Sam Salehpour's statements inaccurate. They said that they have complete confidence in the safety of this fleet and that they put it through rigorous testing with FAA oversight. And you just heard that former Boeing engineer there criticize not just Boeing, but the agencies that are supposed to keep it in check. And so I don't know how much that statement lands given that testimony. And Boeing also said that they've stress tested this fleet to replicate more than 160,000 flights, even though the average 787 only flies about 600 flights a year. So right now, that's what we're hearing from Boeing in an official capacity. But the senators that are running this committee hearing, they said that they're going to be bringing on Boeing executives, and they are hoping and they're expecting that the Boeing's current CEO will also come before the hearing to answer some questions.
Thank you so much, Chris. That's CBC's Chris Reyes in New York.